Hey, I'm Potato Dev Gamer. Dev by day, game by heart. And today, we're talking about a game that looks like it just ate Elden Ring and flexed in 8K HDR afterwards. Yep, Black Myth Wukong. At first glance, it's just another Soulslike, right? Big stick, monkey man, lots of dodging and dying. We've seen it. But no, this one's different. This game isn't just chasing clout. It's built in Unreal Engine 5, powered by an actual dev team that knows what it's doing. And it's backed by one of the most legendary mythologies on Earth. So I'm not here just to scream, hype, for 10 minutes straight. I'm breaking it down, from visuals to combat, game engine tech to story depth. And yeah, we'll also talk about some of the red flags too. Because this might be one of the most ambitious games we've seen come out of China in years. And if they pull it off, Wukong might just stop being a meme from anime OPs and finally become the gaming legend he was always meant to be. Let's get into it. Let's talk graphics, because Black Myth Wukong doesn't just look good. It looks like it crawled out of a next-gen prophecy, bench-pressed your GPU, and whispered, "Behold what actual effort looks like." This is Unreal Engine 5 done right. Not some half-baked UE5 reskin of a PS3 concept art dump. This is full-blown nanite plus lumen magic running in real time, like the devs just casually cracked the code to another dimension.
Yeah, boy.
Nanite gives us rock textures so detailed you can practically count the geological trauma. Lumen, real-time lighting that makes every torch glow, every cave feel alive, and every god ray a spiritual experience.
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
And it's not just look at my graphics card cry levels of visual candy. It's optimized, it's coherent, and it's artistically directed.
Nice.
The fur physics, not just there for show. The fur reacts, it moves, it glistens. It does everything short of making you want to pet your screen. You know who else pulls this off? Not many. Most Western AAA studios are out here dropping $80 cinematic walking simulators with day one bugs, plastic NPCs, and lighting that looks like it was AI generated in a blender at midnight. Meanwhile, game science? They're over here cooking. Like actually cooking.
Yeah, boy.
From scratch.
Nice.
They didn't just install UE5 and slap early access on it. They mastered it. The animation blending is near flawless. Combat transitions are smoother than butter in July.
Damn!
Even the UI overlays feel like they were tested by someone who knows what a UI shouldn't be, which is rare, by the way. And here's the wild part. They're not even some mega-funded international giant. They're a Chinese indie team that said, hey, what if we just outclassed everyone? And honestly, they did. Western AAA studios should be sweating because this game, it doesn't just compete, it slaps hard and then does a stylish backflip while your GPU sobs in the corner. And I, for one, am here for all of it. Let's get into the juicy part, combat. Because in Black Myth Wukong, you don't just hit things, you embarrass them, stylishly, elegantly, and often with a glowing stick the size of a small transmission tower. Now sure, this looks and smells like a Soulslike, but don't get it twisted. It's not just roll, stab, repeat. This game flows. It breathes. And the best part? It's rooted in Sun Wukong's legendary combat philosophy.
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
See, in classical literature, especially Journey to the West, Sun Wukong is chaos incarnate. He doesn't fight clean. He taunts gods, flips mid-air and clobbers celestial beings with that extendable staff like he's doing a one-man Cirque du Soleil act. His fighting style is pure disruption. Unpredictable, high-tempo, full of transformation, misdirection, and just a little bit of monkey arrogance. In most media adaptations, that's been watered down. He either goes full Dragon Ball beam spam or just turns into an angry ape and punches stuff. But not here. Game Science went full mythological nerd mode.
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
The player character, whether he's Sun Wukong or not, more on that later, carries that legacy into every single frame of combat. You're not locked into just basic light, heavy chains. You're adapting on the fly.
Yeah, boy.
Need to dodge? You vanish into mist. Need to crowd control? Staff slam. Need to say, screw it? Turn into a monster and throw boulders like you're done playing fair. And here's where it gets really clever. The combat animations aren't just pretty. They're deeply readable. Attacks have wind-up, weight, and a rhythm that makes it feel like a dance. A brutal, magical kung fu dance where one misstep means a painful respawn. Compare that to the original Monkey King who could leap across worlds in a single bound, deflect lightning with his fur, and parry the heavens using sheer trickery and power. This game channels that same energy, but grounds it with mechanical clarity. The transformations, a nod to Wukong's 72 shape-shifting techniques. The fast aerial juggles, a reflection of his acrobatic battlefield dominance. The huge AoE slams and stick spins are exactly what you'd expect from someone who fought the entire Jade Emperor's army and walked away bored. But here's the genius. The player character's fighting style feels more refined, more grounded, like a disciple of the original Monkey King, borrowing the style, but adding discipline. Where old Wukong was chaos and cockiness, this monkey fights with intention. It's not random. It's not reckless. It's calculated, as if he's been through war, lost a lot, and now fights not to impress, but to survive. The game even plays with combat pacing. Bosses have stamina, you have posture. There are brief pauses where you stare each other down, and in that split second, you're no longer button mashing, you're thinking.
Yeah, boy.
It's cinematic combat done right. Not in a hold L2 to watch cutscene way, but in the you choreograph your own martial arts movie way.
Yeah, boy.
And let's not ignore the polish. The animation blending is chef's kiss.
Oh my God! Wow!
Every roll, every cancel, every parry, it all feels intentional, not spaghetti-coated.
Wait for it. Here it comes. Almost there.
You can even feel how much the devs studied actual martial arts to pull this off. The staff spins, right out of wushu. The footwork, measured and reactive. The attack patterns, telegraphed but honest. It's the difference between hard and fair. And if that wasn't enough, the boss design makes every victory satisfying. You're not just fighting stat blocks. You're fighting monsters with personality, each one a small puzzle wrapped in fur, fire, and pain. Bottom line, the combat slaps. It's a love letter to Chinese mythology disguised as a martial arts action RPG. And when you finally land that perfect parry, dodge through the fire, and slam your staff down to end a boss fight? You're not just a gamer. You're son Wukong's spiritual successor, and you've earned the damn crown.
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Okay, we've drooled over the visuals, we've geeked out over the combat. Now let's get to the soul of this thing, the lore. Because Black Myth Wukong isn't just trying to tell a story. It's carrying the weight of one of the most iconic myths in Asian history, Journey to the West. And no, I'm not talking about that one monkey king from that anime you half remember on a Sunday morning. I'm talking about Sun Wukong, the immortal troublemaker, staff-swinging demigod, heaven-wrecking legend. A character so legendary, he's been adapted into everything from manga to Matrix ripoffs. And let's be real, 90% of the time, he's turned into a meme or a plot device. Strong, chaotic, overpowered, and somehow completely hollow. But game science, they're not playing that game. They're not here to give you Monkey God the action figure. They're digging deep into the source material. The Buddhist philosophy, the Taoist allegories, the moral symbolism, the cultural nuance. And they're doing it with respect, like actual research-based book reading respect. Unheard of in 2025, I know. This isn't just fan service wrapped in cutscenes. It's an interpretation, a retelling through a darker, more grounded lens. Wukong, or the player character who might not even be the real Wukong, plot twist anyone? Isn't a mean here. He's a mythic figure with scars, a symbol of rebellion, transformation, and spiritual burden. Even the environments reflect this. You're not just walking through Forest Level 1. You're trudging through ruins that whisper about fallen gods, temples that echo ancient power, and dreamlike landscapes pulled straight from Chinese folklore fever dreams. The monsters, they're not just cannon fodder. They're mythical creatures, twisted into boss fights that actually make you feel like you're battling legends, not just padding out a quest log. And don't get me started on the narrative tone. It's melancholic, it's somber, it's heavy in a way that says, this world isn't here to amuse you. It's here to test you. It's like if Dark Souls in Journey to the West had a spiritually awakened love child that could actually write decent dialogue. Even the trailers show glimpses of deeper metaphors about self-identity, legacy, and confronting one's shadow. Classic Wukong themes, but reimagined in the way that actually treats the audience like we have brains. And here's the kicker. This isn't Western myth. This isn't Norse gods or Greek revenge stories. This is deep-rooted Chinese mythology, and game science is saying we're telling it our way and we're not dumbing it down. No English narrator over-explaining every scene, no culturally neutered script, just raw myth, stylized, localized, reverent. It's bold, it's refreshing, and honestly, it's long overdue. So yeah, if you're tired of games that treat lore like an optional seasoning, Black Myth Wukong is serving you the full course meal, and I, for one, am ready to dig in. And here's something you don't see every day in modern game development. A studio that knows when not to shove things in for the sake of trend chasing. Black Myth doesn't feel like it was written in a boardroom where 3 marketers asked, okay, but where's the checkbox representation? Instead of awkward modern buzzwords or forced agenda pushing, this game just tells a story. A real story, grounded in its mythological roots, not in some focus-tested narrative soup. No distractions, no token characters, no out-of-nowhere side arcs that feel like they were duct-taped on to chase Twitter points. It's all about the journey, the symbolism, the inner struggle of the protagonist, and the spiritual undertones that reflect centuries of Chinese folklore. You can tell the devs weren't trying to appeal to everyone. They were trying to respect the source material and somehow made it universal in impact. It's rare these days, a game that trusts its audience to be smart without handing out moral cue cards every 5 minutes. And you know what? That trust shows. It makes the experience immersive because you're not pulled out of it by awkward, misplaced writing. So, while other studios are still trying to figure out how to jam every popular social issue into a boss fight cutscene, Game Science just went, hey, what if we just made a damn good story? And shocker, it works. By now, it's pretty obvious. Game Science isn't just making a game. They're making a statement. This isn't some corporate churn-out where every design decision goes through a 14-layer approval funnel and a LinkedIn poll. This is vision-driven development. And honestly, it shows. They took a beloved myth, one of the most sacred texts in East Asian literature, and decided to make an action RPG with cinematic combat, photorealistic visuals, and philosophical undertones that could humble half the AAA industry. Bold move? Absolutely. But what sets them apart isn't just the ambition. It's that they're pulling it off.
Yeah, boy.
Every part of this game feels like it was made by people who actually care, people who know what the lore means.
Nice.
People who understand what makes gameplay feel good, people who probably haven't seen the outside of their office in months. And let's be honest, the industry's not exactly overflowing with that right now. While other big-name studios are locking characters behind pre-order DLC and announcing live service roadmaps before they even finish polishing the main menu, Game Science is like, yeah, here's a playable monkey god with motion-captured staff spins, a myth-heavy plot, and a real martial arts physics baked into the bones. That's not just flexing, that's loving your craft.
Oh my God! Wow!
They're not chasing microtransactions. They're chasing perfection. Even their use of Unreal Engine 5 isn't just for clout. They're out here actually mastering it, using Lumen and Nanite in ways that make other studios look like they forgot to read the documentation. And they're not afraid to delay. Remember that? Delays? Yeah, that thing studios used to do before shipping half-broken messes and calling it post-launch live development. Game Science delayed Wukong multiple times, not because they were lost, but because they knew what they wanted to build and weren't going to settle for less. Respect. But perhaps the most powerful part of their philosophy, they're not trying to be the next Ubisoft. They're not trying to be China's answer to From Software. They're just trying to be Game Science. And that authenticity is refreshing.
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
They don't care about Western market trends. They care about nailing the game. They don't chase lowest common denominator design. They build for depth, for myth, for experience. They know their audience, they know their lore, they know their monkey. And when you see it all come together, when the combat, the visuals, the atmosphere, and the story align in perfect chaotic harmony, you realize this isn't just a game. It's a developer's dream brought to life through sheer passion, painful overtime, and probably a few hundred gallons of black coffee.
Nice.
In a world where AAA often means aimless, addictive, algorithm approved, game science just dropped the mic. And if the final product delivers like it looks, we might be witnessing the birth of a new heavyweight in the industry. Your move, everyone. Now, before we start building temples in game science's honor, let's hit pause and talk reality. Because as much as Black Myth Wukong looks like it came down from the heavens on a cloud, even the Monkey King had flaws. And this game? Yeah, it's got a few red flags waving in the distance. First up, performance anxiety. Let's not pretend this game doesn't look heavy. Like, I just upgraded last year and my rig's sweating heavy. Unreal Engine 5 is gorgeous, sure, but it's also the software equivalent of asking your PC to run Crysis while streaming in 4K on battery power. We've seen trailers with perfectly smooth combat, but trailers are like Instagram filters for games. You're only seeing the good angles. If game science can't nail optimization, especially on console and PC mid-spec, we could be looking at frame drop city with a side of stutter. Second, is it actually open world or fancy corridors? So far, the areas look open-ish, but there's a big difference between an expansive world and narrow hallways with good lighting. We've all been burned before. Explore the world, they said. Go anywhere, they said. And then you realize you're just zigzagging down a beautifully rendered tunnel with invisible walls thicker than Wukong's staff. Third, combat depth versus spectacle. The combat looks amazing, but will it have real systems behind it? Or is it going to be one of those, everything feels great for 5 hours, and then you realize you've been doing the same 3 combos since the tutorial situations? We've seen this before. Incredible animation, but shallow mechanics underneath. We're hoping there's real variety, skill trees that matter, transformations that feel different, bosses that don't just reuse the same attack patterns with fire effects slapped on top. And now the big one, longevity and support. Let's say the game launches and it's amazing. Cool, then what? Is there DLC, a roadmap, or will they just drop this masterpiece and disappear into the bamboo forest? Because the industry's full of one-hit wonders. We've seen gorgeous, groundbreaking games that got one patch and then radio silence. With the insane expectations riding on Wukong, even a slightly mid-follow-up will spark torches and pitchforks. No pressure. And hey, let's not ignore the elephant in the temple. Marketing versus reality. The trailers, absolute bangers, but we've all seen devs overpromise and underdeliver. If even one mechanic feels undercooked, people will be sharpening their Twitter posts faster than you can say launch patch. Oh, and here's a fun one, localization. The game is deeply rooted in Chinese mythology, which is amazing, but also hard to translate right. If they outsource the English script to someone who learns storytelling from Google Translate, well, we're in for some immortal ball donkey of thunder rage moments real fast. Final concern, monkey fatigue. Okay, maybe not that. But if the game leans too hard into repetition, if enemy types are limited, if boss mechanics repeat, if transformation variety turns into reskin city, people will drop it fast, no matter how pretty it looks. Because in 2025, even greatness needs replay value. So yeah, we're hopeful, we're excited, we're fully on the hype cloud. But we're also gamers. We've been here before. And we know that sometimes the shinier the banana, the likelier it hides a worm. Let's just hope that this one is ripe, golden, and god tier. Because if Wukong falls short, oh man, the internet is not going to be merciful. Prayers up, game science. No pressure. You're carrying the mythological hopes of an entire genre on your shoulders. So, where does that leave us? Black Myth Wukong isn't just another shiny trailer bait. It's a moment, a statement, A bold middle finger to the idea that you need a billion-dollar studio, a Hollywood voice cast, and a mountain of microtransactions to make something great. This game is living proof that passion still exists in the industry, that a team that believes in their culture, their story, and their craft can go toe-to-toe with the giants and swing harder. From its jaw-dropping visuals, to its myth-infused world, to combat that feels like kung fu poetry in motion, Wukong isn't just looking good, it's feeling real. Yes, there are concerns. Of course there are. But every frame screams intent. Every swing of that staff says, we know exactly what we're doing. And if game science sticks the landing, this isn't just going to be 2024's best action RPG. It's going to be a line in the sand, a before and after moment. Before Wukong, safe, soulless AAA templates. After Wukong, a wake-up call. So here's to the devs who gave a damn, to the myth that still has power, to the staff that bends, spins, and smashes expectations, and to the Monkey King, or whoever we're really playing as. May your journey be long, your enemies many, and your game-breaking bugs few. Let the legend begin. And that's it from me. If you made it this far, congrats. You've officially unlocked the hidden lore of my brain. If you liked what you heard or just enjoy seeing a developer lose his mind over video games, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you want more deep dives, breakdowns, and mildly unhinged analysis from a full-stack dev who games way too much, subscribe. Because whether it's gacha, monkey gods, or turn-based JRPG making my GPU cry, I've got thoughts, and I'm going to keep sharing them. I'm Potato Dev Gamer, dev by day, game by heart, and I'll see you in the next video. And if you have any topic you want me to cover, just hit me in the comments and I shall answer your summon. And don't forget to dodge.